I got an interesting comment from an individual who watched my video goofing on Eric July. Allow me to read it for you really quickly so I can respond to it accordingly. Sigh, yes. Eric July is and always has been a grifter, and the entire anti-woke movement is a grift. However, going black pill over modern pop culture simply because there's a bit more women and minorities in the cape genre than it used to be is beyond stupid. If having a woman or a minority in a lead role in genre franchise is enough for you to make you hate it, then maybe you weren't that much of a fan of it from the beginning. Geek populism has gotten old and tiresome. No one is preaching to you just because Marvel decided to make a sequel to Captain Marvel. There's a lot to address here. Let's not waste any time. First point of contention, I have never disliked or refused to watch a movie merely because of the skin color of a movie's protagonist. I think it's silly to not watch a movie merely because of the character's skin color or gender. I've seen a lot of movies. I try only to see the objectively good films. Out of all the amazing movies I've watched, one of the films in the top 10 best category is Jackie Brown. The protagonist is a black woman. If you haven't seen it, you should. It's pretty great. The issue with modern cinema isn't minorities or women. Anyone suggesting that is being silly. The real problem is that new films being released are boring, badly written, and yes, there is a blatant attempt to force down our throats a subversive agenda promoted by the internationalists. For short, some people just call this wokeness. None of this has to do with the color of someone's skin or the genitalia between their legs, or at least I don't think it does. Let's elaborate quickly on some of these points. Are new films boring? Of course. When I was younger, I loved the comic book movies, but I grew up and they don't interest me as much as they once did. It also doesn't help that films meander and try to go into multiple directions at once while delivering painfully and funny libretted humor every other line. It was maybe kind of funny once, but it's too much at this point. It's a blatant gimmick and not even a good one at that. The stakes are also not high in any of these films. None of these characters die, and if they do, they can be brought back to life because of a multiverse or something. What the makers of these films attempt to do is placate the precious feelings of the average cape shit enjoyer. They don't want them to feel any sort of distress or melancholy when watching these movies because modern Westerners have become addicted to dopamine. They know their fans are man-children and will protest anything that upsets them, so essentially the audience is dictating the outcome of these films. It's like the beginning, middle, and end of the film are democratized, and I absolutely hate democracy. Art is not a conversation. Cinema is not a conversation. Movies are just stories brought to life. A good movie tells and shows a great story without any input from the audience. This is largely one of the reasons many sensible people hate fandoms. They go too far. In a sensible and fair world, artists would produce good art without any nefarious pressure from special interest groups or dangerous ideologues having a say in how the art unfolds before an audience. And if the audience is receptive to the artist can be rewarded and continue to make art or expand on the thing they created. But that isn't the world we live in. The ideologues do have a say in how stories unfold. Special interest groups do dictate what is and what isn't suitable for any given audience. And now the audience gets to have a say in the movie-making process with constant whining and bitching, although sometimes the whining and bitching is warranted. To summarize this, there's too many cooks in the kitchen. Cinema is looking like the modern world. The modern world is ugly, stupid, incoherent, inefficient, self-serving, annoying, and an agent of sin and gore. I don't want my fiction to mirror the ethos of the Democratic Party, the Bolsheviks who've taken over our once cherished institutions, and the whiny liberal redditor man-child. This is largely why I tapped out and have completely abandoned the enterprise. People whining about the state of film confuse me. Their demands confuse me. I like the content creator Dave Cullen, who operates the Computing Forever channel, but himself and many others constantly lament the direction some of their cherished franchises have gone and always suggest it would have been better to hand off the retarded franchise to the next generation by making the story one way instead of another and blah blah blah. Bro, who gives a shit? These stories do not belong to Dave Cullen or their aging fans. These stories belong to soulless mega corporations who do not care what grifter content creators like AZ Heels Babyface or Jeremy from the Quartering think. They don't care what I think, which is why I largely avoid the culture war bullshit. I know how this game works. Modern entertainment has an agenda, which is to establish complete and total ideological conformity with the internationalists and cosmopolitan elites. For fuck's sake, the majority of the Hollywood industry is subsidized by US tax dollars. Why the fuck would they care about making good art when they're literally paid by a money printing machine? None of this makes me blackpilled. I didn't lose anything. Sure, it kind of stinks I can't go to the cinema with a date, get the popcorn, and enjoy myself because the majority of films released in theater are trash. But so what? There's a million other things I can do with my time. I have an old dog, and spending time with her is more enjoyable than any stupid Marvel movie ever released. I have a lot of friends who are more deserving of my time than some stupid conversation on the internet about the moral implication of Thanos snapping his purple sausage fingers and unaliving half the universe. Like, seriously, who fucking cares? The weather is getting nicer. Nighttime motorcycle rides are going to be a thing again. The lake is going to start warming up in a few weeks. I got a book to write too. I got puppets to make for people. All this not only brings joy, meaning, and happiness into my life, but other people get to enjoy these things with me. It's positive, it's lovely, but more importantly, it's fucking real. The same can't be said for the Star Wars universe, the Spider-Verse, or any other soulless garbage cinematic goislop people willingly shove down their gullets. I leave you with a challenge. Stop consuming product. Go outside. Don't just touch the grass. Hump the grass. Think hard about things you've always wanted to do, or if you've ever been curious about something, why not indulge in a little bit of research and explore things instead of consuming product and getting excited for the next product? I can't prove it, but I think modern cinema is making people depressed. We're supposed to grow up, grow old, gain real-world experiences, make friends, fall in love, rekindle and repair failed friendships and relationships, feel loss and feel joy. Cinema, or modern cinema, doesn't make you feel any of these things. It only serves to infantilize a rapidly aging audience. Your mind knows this is wrong, yet people just can't help themselves but feel drawn to the internationalist programming. Break free from this hell. You don't have to feel emptiness and sorrow. You can find joy and fulfillment outside of cape shit, soy wars, and cheap plastic Chinese-made toys. You can build and foster a real identity outside of these stupid movie franchises. Take a good look at yourself in the mirror. Let your pupils become pupils, and perhaps you can learn to lead a better life. When people like myself perish in our old age, not a single one of us will ever look back fondly of an online discussion or debate about Star Wars, the Avengers, Pokemon, the Hunger Games, Black Spider-Man, Doctor Who Cares, or any garden variety goislop garbage the regime wants to throw at us to pacify a conquered people. You can break the chains around your wrists. You don't need anybody's permission, but perhaps you might need a reminder.